Sup? It's Greggatron. Happy Sunday. And I hope you like my shirt. Yeah. Alright. I was at the grocery store earlier. I was talking to my guy in the butcher shop. And I asked this question to everybody. I say, what's good with ya? Well, this time, this person, he stumped me. He said, define good. And I was just like, well, I tried to play it off. I was like, well, when I was in high school, I had a buddy who I'd say, what's good? And he'd say, everything that's bad. And then he'd be like, what's bad? And I'd be like, everything that's good. But that's a really good response, what he said. He said, define good. And even right now, while I'm sitting in this chair, I don't even know how to answer that. So he really put me on the spot, and I thought that was cool. But let me ask you guys the same thing. What is good? And I'm not talking about Webster's Dictionary. You know when people think they're a good person or they did a good deed? Are they really doing a good deed? Or are they just saying it? Is that just their perception? Oh, they did something nice for somebody, therefore it's good. Or maybe they just did it to make themselves look better or to look good. And it makes you wonder if no one was around, would they still have done it regardless? Like, for example, I was driving around one day and there's a guy in the middle of the street trying to hold traffic back because he's trying to help this old lady across the street, right? And she was an old lady with a walker. And I was thinking, wow, it's been forever since I seen somebody help an old lady across the street. So when I see stuff like that, I think that is good because she clearly needs help across the street. And he's doing a selfless act in the sense that he himself can get hit by a car trying to help this woman. But to play devil's advocate, I'm like, where's her grandson or granddaughter to drive her around or whatever? Or where's the handicap bus or the old folks bus to drive her around? Because don't these services get paid to do that? But that's just my mind. Or maybe she lived in the neighborhood. Maybe she was just getting some exercise. So did that guy really need to do that? I don't know. Help people at your own risk. But that goes into this point. Is it good to help people? And if you do help people, what's good about it? And how should you help people? I think you shouldn't help people to get recognition from doing it. I think if you want to help someone, do it, but keep your mouth shut about it. Don't tell everybody at work, oh, I was helping this person move some furniture over the weekend, because now they're just going to talk about you. And then they're going to say, oh, look, those two are buddy-buddy outside of work. They were helping each other move, and they invite each other to each other's parties and barbecues and family functions and all kind of stuff. They're just going to talk about you. That's all they're going to do. They'll just gossip. But what is good? No, really, what's good? My definition of good would be a selfless act to quote unquote help someone. Now don't get it twisted. You can help someone in the wrong way. Ooh, for example, I don't even know if I should tell this story, but you guys are my friends. I'll tell you, right? I used to work with this lady years ago. And nice lady. Her son worked with me. We all worked her son and I worked in the same department. Well, she worked in a different department. Anyway, I stopped working at that job for whatever reason. I moved on to a different job. Well, she got my number somehow and she calls me and she's like, Greg, I have a favor to ask you. I was like, yeah, what's up? She's like, well, my husband was not in the best shape, she said. He was in bad health and their insurance was all jacked up. And she was low on money when it came to paying for his medicine. And she had already asked all of her kids to help her. And none of the kids would help her except for my old coworker. He was the only one. Because all the other siblings, they all have families of their own. So she'd say, and she was so nice. Just a nicey nice lady, right? She's what you would call a sweetheart, right? And she said, Greg, I'm so sorry to ask you this, but this one time, can you loan me? She only needed like $50 or something like that. And I felt kind of uneasy about it, but I knew she was good people. Ooh, I used that word good. I knew she was good people. So I was like, yeah, I'll help you out, you know. Because it was to help this man with his medicine, his medication. So I gave her the $50. She gave it back a week or so later. That was the end of it. Well, then weeks go by and she calls me again and she needed about the same amount of money. So we do it all over again. She gave it back. Well, then the third time rolls around and she's like, hey, Greg, I'm so sorry to call you, but can I have $70? And I promised to give it back, she said. And I said, I don't think I want to do this anymore. I was like, I don't feel right about this. And she said, this is the last time, I promise. And I said, all right, well, $70, I'm going to need some type of collateral. She's like, oh, absolutely, absolutely. And we're talking on the phone. Absolutely, she said. She said, Greg, I'll give you my wedding ring. And I'm thinking, whoa, her wedding ring. She's like, yeah, just hold on to it until I give it back. I was like, all right. So she gives me her wedding ring and I give her the $70. Long story short, I never got that $70 back. Never. And I still have that wedding ring in my house to this day. And this was, I don't know, this was like 4 years ago. This is a while ago. So I say that to say this. You might think you're doing something good, but what does it lead to? You might think you're doing something good, but at what cost? You think you're doing the right thing to help someone, but people might take advantage. Now, was she taking advantage? Probably. Now, was I the first person she asked? Absolutely not. So the fact that I wasn't the first person she asked, what does that say? It indicates a red flag because all her kids said no, except for one. So that in itself, and I kind of knew it was a red flag even back then in my mid-20s, but I had some extra money being a bachelor and whatnot. And like I said, we always got along at work. So I didn't have a problem for real in the beginning. Like I said, I felt uneasy, but it was just a temporary thing. The problem is when it comes to helping people is when you help someone repeatedly, now that person gets used to it and you almost get used to it in a sense. And when that happens, when you cut that person off or when you stop doing it or when you're now hesitant to do it, now you become enemies. So when you're at that point, you almost feel like you should never help that person in the first place, because if you do, it just opens up the door for mess. And I'm not saying every interaction where you quote unquote help somebody is like that, but many times it's like that. It's kind of like if you let a friend of yours stay at your place for X amount of time and you don't charge them, everything is fine and dandy. But the minute you start to charge somebody, Now that person's your enemy. What do you mean you're going to charge me this much money? I thought we're family or we're friends or whatever. So you just have to be careful on your relationships with these people, because they might not see things the way you're seeing it. You might think you're doing something for them, but they might not see it that way. They might see, and they don't even think they're using you. They don't look at it that way. They just think, oh, this is my boy, this is my homie, or this is my girl, this is my sister or my brother. This person's just helping me out. But they don't see it as taking advantage of the other person. And then when you check that person, all hell breaks loose. So you have to be extremely careful in the beginning when somebody asks you for a favor. You either say yes with a straight face or say no with a straight face. But if you feel like you're on the fence about it, if you feel uneasy about it, you probably shouldn't do it. So that's a good topic. As far as what's good, nothing. Because even if it starts out good, it could potentially end in a train wreck. What do you think about that? And it'll get old. And then when it's over, you'll see that person in the street. Like, I haven't seen her, the wedding ring lady. I haven't seen her since. So something tells me if I were to see her in public, she would just probably either act like she doesn't remember me, or she'd be like, oh, hey, Greg, I'm so sorry. I didn't forget about you. I still got your $70, but it's to the point I don't even want that $70 back. Get it? If I haven't got it back by now, clearly she needs it more than I need it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you gotta tread carefully with people. But don't even have the expectation that you're gonna get it back. Because the fact that they're asking for it means not only do they not have $70 in their bank account, but they don't have more than $70 in their bank account. So if you're struggling on that level, don't even expect to get the money back, because they're clearly in a tough place. You know, Royce the 5'9" said, I don't borrow, I rather discuss loaning. Meaning, oh, I'm going to get some interest back. Jay-Z said, if you owe me $10, you ain't giving me $9, you know. But what is good? I want to know what you think in the comments. What is good? And my buddy, he used to ask me that a lot when we talked on the phone. He started that. He said, what's good with you? I'd be like, oh, you know, everything. You already know. But that was just our conversation. It's just a fascinating choice of words. Because you're not going to say to someone, what's bad with you? Or if someone asks you what's good, you're not going to say, oh, my dog just died this morning. Or my grandma just died last weekend. That's not a normal response. When people ask you these questions, in many cases, they're going to give you a fake answer anyway. So, like, you ever ask somebody, how's it going, or how you doing? Now, there are some ladies out there who they'll be like, oh, I've been better. You know, like the mopey people. There's some people who, when they're sad, they'll let everybody know they're sad. But there's also people who are sad who will fake it, and they'll say, oh, I'm good. But when someone says good, that means they're not really doing good. Either that, or they just want to get you off their back because they don't want you talking to them. So they'll say something nice and short and sweet and simple, just so you stop talking to them. Like, oh, I'm good. Because if you say I'm all right, that gives me the indication that you could be better. So, and I've done this before with people. I'll ask a girl, "Hey, how you doing?" And if she says, "I'm okay," then I say, "Wait, you're just okay? Why are you just okay? How come you're not better? Or how come you're not good? Or whatever," right? Well, now that's opening up the door for her to spew her mess, but she might not want to talk about her mess because maybe it's something personal. So I think it's very fascinating how people have conversations. Because when you're having a conversation with somebody, it's kind of like a game of chess. Like if someone asks you a question, oh, if I say this to this person, that's going to open up the door now for this person to say this. And if that person asks this, well, now I'm inclined to explain this. Instead of people just saying, it's not your business or I don't feel like talking about it, a lot of people, they play this word game because they don't want to feel like an a-hole. But if someone thinks that you're an a-hole, that's on the other person. That's not on you. But no one really knows what other people are going through, right? My dad taught me that when I was a kid. You never know what other people are going through. So that in itself is another good point. Wow, this video is long. That's some good stuff. I'm just fascinated by how people think, that's all. This is just Greggatron and his thinking process. I like for you guys to pick my brain. You know what I'm saying? Because I think it's fun. And it's healthy. Yeah. Alright. What is good? Let me know in the comments what's good. Alright, peace.